Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel. My name is Jason, and today we're going to look at my Certiflat 36 by 48 fabBlock. This will hopefully be a first of many videos I'm going to post. I am a hobbyist fabricator. I've worked in the past with machine tools, and over the last several years I've got involved in the off-road scene where we're building buggies and modifying buggies to ride around. I live in the state of Florida. So the terrain here isn't as varied as some of the guys get to see out west. We do a lot of trail riding out here. I do currently have a buggy today, a 4-seat buggy where I take my kids and my wife with me and we go ride around the forest here in the state of Florida. We have a good time, a lot of family fun. The buggy I bought, I had actually bought from somebody else, and it's on about its 10th iteration of design. So with the help of my friends and some, a lot of information on YouTube, I've decided to partake on the redesign or a fresh sheet design for a new buggy build. So the first step in that was drawing some things up. I have a friend of mine who has worked professionally in the CAD field in the past. He no longer does that, but he still maintains a copy of the software where he and I can collaborate and do some designs and things. And I myself have started to learn some parametric modeling like SolidWorks and Fusion 360. So anyway, what we have today here, I purchased a Certiflat fabBlock from the folks at tabandslot.com. Previous to this, I had purchased a Strong Hand Tools table, the lower cost model, which is probably a good table. Funny story about how I made the decision to jump on this. I ended up selling my Strong Hand Tools table. I had built and designed a complete A-arm front suspension for my buggy. Cut a lot of tube, bent a lot of tube, notched a lot of tube, welded the whole front end together. Based on measurements and design, when I put it together, a lot of things didn't fit. They were off quite a bit. So summertime gets hot here, so not a lot of work gets done in the summertime in the garage. So that was about springtime. I ended up shelving the project because I'm also in the middle of building a new house, so that kind of took priority. But over the holidays, the Christmas holidays, I had some time to look at it, did some figuring out. And what I found out was the Strong Hand Tools table, even though advertised as a 2x2 on center hole pattern, was really 50 millimeter by 50 millimeter. So that probably wouldn't have been such a big deal if I hadn't built everything around the expectation of 2-inch 2x2 on center. So I had a bunch of, everything I had cut and bent and notched was meant for that, and I put it all together. I was fighting it the whole time, and then when I had some laser cut bulkheads done to mount the A-arms, and I wanted to put those at a 12-inch on center. They were off by 180 thousandths, which oddly enough is the difference between 50 millimeters at six holes wide is basically 180 thousandths difference. So I found somebody locally. I sold it on Craigslist who was going to use it for other things. It didn't really bother them too much. So I went ahead and made the jump into the fabBlock purchase. It just arrived. I got to say I'm very impressed. Like I said, this is not my first foray into laser cut steel. The Certiflat product is very nice. It does work together. I've just over the last 2 days, just some things I've kind of figured out for the assembly. There really isn't any videos that I've found for the 36 by 48 fabBlock. There are several. There's one from GeekBeat doing a 30 by 30, and then there's also the tabandslot.com instructional video how to put this together. Also a 30 by 30. So 36 by 48. I found a couple of things out I'd like to share with you guys. So hopefully if somebody else purchases one of these, this will help them if if they're struggling to put theirs together. So here we have, you can see there's a bunch of hardware here. I purchased all the threaded rod from Tractor Supply as well as the bolts and nuts. Very reasonably priced. They're low grade hardware. I think it's grade 2. You buy it by the pound. I think I probably have, with the exception of the threaded rod and the these joining nuts here, which are individually priced. All this stuff is priced by the pound. I think I probably have $30 in all this hardware. These are all 3/8 hardware. Probably should have used 1/2 inch, but there was a fairly large gap in the price of 3/8 to 1/2 inch, both for the threaded rod. And then as far as, you look at the amount of fasteners and washers and things we have, that kind of would have added up. And for something this is not a permanent thing, this is all used to construct this, and then, it's really not worthless. I wouldn't use these on anything other than maybe a fence or something, right? Because it's lower quality steel. I wouldn't put it in anything I'd let my family ride in. So anyway, some things I've kind of did. So I use 3/8. These holes are 5/8. So by using 3/8 material, I was able to weave these through here. Most of these videos show these threaded rods being run through. Basically, you run them through one side. Well, I basically cleaned out the threaded rod section of the My Local Tractor Supply, as well as these coupling nuts here. And I was able to capture both sides, and I was able, because they're small enough, they can actually pass underneath each other, even though the holes are in the same plane, both in the X and the Y here. And it worked pretty well, right? So as far as anything else that I found, there's a one kind of suggestion I have for the folks at Tab and Slot. As you see here, these pieces I use, which are what I'm going to use to clamp and tighten this system up. Now, matter of fact, all this stuff here is still basically hand tied. I haven't really put the squeeze on any of this stuff yet. My only complaint, and it's really more of a constructive criticism, is that you see all these pieces here have all been laser cut out. There seems to be a fair amount of waste here. What I would have liked to have seen included with any or all of the sizes of fabBlocks is for them to include there's like I said, there's a bunch of waste here. They probably could have cut out these pieces that I've made out of some cheap fencing material that I found also at Tractor Supply. They could have cut out something that looked like this. I think it's 2.8 and change on center, which you do some high school math and geometry, and it comes you figure out what the whole center was. It just so happened that I found these pieces here, and I drilled them out and I made them work. But for what this table cost and what it cost to get here, it'd just be a nice little bonus. Like I said, there seems to be a fair amount of waste material here. I'm sure they nest other products that they're making with some of this material, so their loss is pretty low. But I'm sure there is some extra stuff that they have that they it just would have been a nice thing to include. So that's really kind of my only complaint so far. Other than that, I'm super satisfied. Everything goes together exactly like the other videos you've seen. Works pretty well. As far as tightening this stuff down, there's definitely an order of operations you have to go to. I had a friend come over and help me put the sides on. That was probably the biggest fight, was trying to get the sides on in a line. The center pieces here all kind of fell right into place for the most part. We got these on here, and then by using the threaded rod, we're able to suck those in, and now everything is pretty good. So what I've done, I have loosened all the threaded rods, right, but in both dimensions. All these are all hand tight. So I've watched both, like I said, both the Geek video and the video from Tab and Slot, and I agree with most of what both of them have some different takes on it. Here's my take. Bolting this stuff down really isn't any different than, say, tightening down a cylinder head from the amount, the direction you torque this stuff, right? So you want to work from the center out. So it would be I think the best course of action would probably be to tighten the center one first, tighten these two right here, that'll pull that up, and then we start working this way, right? Do this one and this one, then that one, then this one, then that one, then that one, right? And then work from the center out all the way out. That'll make everything nice and flat. You don't have to go crazy tighten this stuff. All you want to do is draw it up, right? We're not securing anything with this hardware. All you want to do is make sure everything is drawn up. The laser cutting will guarantee that the stuff is flat. You start putting a bunch of torque on it, you're going to bend things. Probably not the best course of action. You just want to make sure it's tight. just for some messing around, basically what I've done, I have a little gear wrench over here, just a regular 9/16 gear wrench, and I've tightened up the center one here and backed it off. And basically, you can tighten it to where if you can hold the bolt with one hand and tighten it with the other, that's probably all the torque you're going to need. You shouldn't need to put a wrench on the bottom to draw these up, unless, of course, I had a couple of these that were kind of, the threads were a little boogered up, so I had to use something to hold it so I could thread them all the way on. But for the most part, you shouldn't be putting a ton of torque on here, and this cheap strapping material I have here isn't gonna take a lot of torque if you put it on it. So, yeah, so that's where we're at so far. I'm gonna go ahead and start tightening everything up and get it leveled. I have a couple straight edges here. I am gonna check, because I have all these braces on here. It's gonna be a little difficult, but I have some pathways here. I can check that all this stuff is straight. I'm of course going to do the light check, so grab a little handy flashlight. I'll turn the lights out here in my shop. Shine a light and make sure that I don't have any gaps. Another thing I found on the edge here, right? These are precision surfaces and they're laser cut. You can definitely tell when you've over tightened these. You shouldn't be able to catch a fingernail either going one way or the other when you run it across these two edges. So this edge is laser cut. So when you tighten these up, if you look very closely, if you can catch a fingernail under here, these are too tight. You're pulling the metal in. So you want to loosen this up a little bit, and just you want to have tension on it, but you don't want to see that create a little shelf here where these two pieces of metal intersect. So yeah, that's about it. I'll probably come back here in a little bit. I may even either make a second video or add it onto this one and post it up for you guys. So, have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thanks.